Hi! Welcome back to my channel. My name is 𝙨𝙗𝙗𝙧𝙞𝙗 and if you're new, I make videos about my life. It's very reflective, introspective content where I focus a lot on self-growth and healing from past events. Something that I focus on a lot is my struggles with growing up and finding my identity existing between two opposing cultures. So my family's from Pakistan and I grew up in Canada, and so there's a lot of conflict in that experience, and I talk a lot about that. So if you're interested in anything that I just mentioned, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with it. But yeah, so today's video is very impromptu. I honestly was not expecting to film until like probably 15 minutes ago. I just got back from work and I was supposed to work there today from 9 to 5, like a full work day, but I had to leave early because my head just was not there, and I've been experiencing a lower than usual mood in the past couple of days. Basically, the situation with my family, like, it started about 3 years ago and it's kind of been stable and dormant over the past couple of months, so I've been feeling super comfortable. But recently something has aggravated the situation and I'm finding it hard to deal with in the moment. Like, I don't really want to open up about it right now, but I'm sure I will in the future because I don't want to affect the situation negatively in any way at all. Like, if you're really curious, you can DM me on Instagram. I'd be happy to share with you. I just don't want to release it on a public platform like this right now. I've been extremely happy over the past few months. Like, honestly, I've felt stressed and anxious at times, but there's nothing that really made me feel down and like low and stuck in that low place. Like, if I felt upset at something, it was usually about a event that happened in the day and it bothered me, and then a couple hours later I'd be fine. But this past week I feel like the best way I can describe it is that I felt like there was a light, like a spark, like that was burning very brightly, and all of a sudden it has dimmed, and my love for life and my motivation to live, not as in like I don't want to be alive, but I do want to be alive, but my motivation to live as in actively participate in life, that has kind of gone down a bit. And obviously it's not anything that's been long term, I've only been dealing with it for a couple of days, but the contrast of how I used to feel and what I feel right now in this moment is there's so much contrast. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about specifically in this video is how our minds, a lot of the time when we are in a happy place, you never worry about losing it because you feel like you've worked so hard to achieve it, so now you're at this level. You know, like when you're healing from something, you kind of picture it like this is the event that happened that caused some trauma in you, and then every single day after that event you're healing from it. So the way you picture it in your mind is that it's like linearly increasing, like your heal. The progress of your healing is like linearly increasing, and that's kind of what you start to believe. And that's definitely how I felt over the past few months because everything was going so well. I was so just at peace with my situation and just accepted it as things were. But the only constant of life is change, and once the situation changed in this small way that it has, like now that there's been some advancement, all of a sudden it's like I feel like I've lost my footing and I feel like I've fallen back. And there's a quote that I regularly come across that goes, healing is not linear, and that is so true. Just because you have felt so good and you have felt like you're at one with your past and your troubles, something can come in and just like set you back a little. But like I was saying before, you feel that happiness is so stable when you're in that joyful state. But as soon as you hit a rough patch, as soon as you get hit with a negative state of mind or negative feelings, your mind starts to trick you into believing that there's no way out of it. Even now, as on the streetcar coming here, I was just worrying about like, oh my god, what if I stay in this state forever? Like, I feel really upset right now. What if I can never recover? Which is obviously not true, but in this moment right now, because I don't feel the best, my mind isn't really able to rationalize that well. And I don't know if anyone has experienced this. I'm sure if you've faced a lot of difficult feelings, you probably have, but a lot of the time your mind doesn't always want to get you out of that state. A lot of the time you find your mind feeding into it as if it wants you to stay there. Thinking positive thoughts and thinking about optimistic futures, that is a more difficult task than thinking pessimistically. I just feel upset and unable to focus on anything, and I also feel an overwhelming sense of things are not going to get better than they are at this moment, and that's hard to experience. But I also know that everything is temporary, which is why I wanted to make this video, just to remind myself that I'm not actually, hold on, even just me being able to film this video right now in this state says a lot about where I am in my healing journey. Like in the past, I'm sure I would have just, like what I was planning to do actually was, I couldn't stay in the office because I was feeling really emotional and I couldn't focus on the work, and I was just feeling super guilty and dishonest about billing them for hours where I wasn't fully focused on the work. So I left, and my plan was to go into the shower and just cry and then like sleep for the rest of the day. But instead, I came home and I'm filming. As soon as I came home, I set up the tripod and just sat down and filmed. And I guess that says a lot. But yeah, anyway, I'm going through a hard time right now. I know it's temporary. I don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe another couple of days, maybe weeks, maybe months. Feels scary to think that, but who knows? I can't predict the future and I can't control the future either. The best I can do is accept what is and deal with it as it comes. If you're someone who is also going through a rough time right now, I just want you to remember that you're not stuck in this place. If, like me, you were in a way better place before and you feel like you've lost a lot of progress all of a sudden because of something, also just know that that's not true. Just because your healing doesn't look the way you want it to doesn't mean that it's not happening. Yeah, and if you are just going through a hard time in general, if you're dealing with something that has just happened and you're only beginning the healing process, then also know that if you just keep going, things will start to look brighter. It's just how it is. It really is. Like, if you set the intention of wanting to make your life better, wanting to improve your mental health, and you work at it every day, then it will. And the work doesn't have to be mentally exhausting or physically exhausting work. The work can just be surviving a day. Even if you wake up and you spend all day in bed and then you go back to sleep and you haven't moved at all that day, you're still working for yourself because you decided that you would keep going, and that's what matters the most. It really does. When I'm feeling really down about life and feeling kind of hopeless, the best method I've found to help me deal with this state is not to think past today. So not to plan anything for tomorrow, not to think about what I'm doing next week. Just basically focus on getting through this day. Whether you get anything productive done or not, it doesn't matter. As long as you have lived the day, you have succeeded. And that has just helped me a lot. So yeah, I never know how to end my videos because, I mean, when I started the videos, I'm not really planning them, so I just kind of turn the camera on, talk, and then at one point I just feel like I'm done talking, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm done talking. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.